Hello, hello. This is Charlie, and I am in Southern Illinois. And I'm going to do a quick live about one of the hobbies I have and always had, and in retirement, really looking forward to doing it more. And that is genealogy. And I saw an article in a newspaper just recently, and I'm going to share here about the oldest person living in the state of Illinois. And I think, let me show the article here. This woman is she lives in the Springfield, Illinois area. Her name's Winona Bish, and there's a picture of Winona. And October 2nd, and I'm assuming she's still alive. That was last October in 2024 that she turned 112 years old. Now that makes her the second. What's it say there? She blew out candles as likely the second oldest person in the state at the time. The former person living in Maywood, so there's somebody else the same age. So she's currently the oldest person living in the state of Illinois, 112 years old. That means she was born, do my math, that means 1922. Is that right? So it'd be 100 years, it'd be 1924 minus two more. No, that'd be 100 years. That'd be a 2000 or 1924. 10 more would be 1914. So she's born 1910. Is that right? So wow, that's remarkable. She's 112. Now, what's interesting about that is it says she's believed to be the 12th oldest living person in the state. And then she's also believed to be the 12th oldest person in the United States and the 55th oldest person in the world by a research group. So there's the 10 oldest people in the United States. Elizabeth France is 115. And then dear Winona, she is 112. So joining this list of these folks down here of 112. So what's really interesting about that, and happy birthday to her a little belatedly, and hope she has many more, right? What's interesting about that is I have a I have a habit I do. I'm a genealogist. So they call them oh God, what's the name for them? It's people that love to go out and go to cemeteries, and that's me. I like to go out and look at the history of cemeteries and research for my family and just for other people that are famous in cemeteries that are kind of interesting. So when I saw this news article this morning, I was doing research because I wanted to pay honor to an ancestor of mine who was also 112 when she passed away in the state of Illinois. And her birthday, I was putting together a video to do on her, and I'll share that in a minute. Her birthday happens to be January 20th. And so that's coming up. It's January 17th today. So on the 20th in 3 days, this relative of mine who happens to be my great, 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 four greats, one more, five greats grandmother. And she was 112 when she passed away. And so I've always had an interest in that. Her cemetery, where she's buried, it's about 25 miles away from where I'm at, and I've always had an interest in maintaining her tombstone, and I'll show that in a minute, and her name and a little bit about her life. And she died in the 1870s. She lived to be 112, and at the time, she, like Winona, was the oldest resident of the state of Illinois. And so every year on New Year's Eve, I have a habit of my wife and I go to her tombstone, and I'll show that in a minute, of making sure it's in good shape. So, a relative who now has probably thousands of relatives, right? And you think about 5 generations and how many people call her their great, 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 great grandmother. And I'm proud to be one of those. So let me show you a little more about her. So her name was Phebe Cauldwell Parks. And Phoebe, she was born in North Carolina in the year 1760. So August 16th, 1760. and she grew up in Rutherford County, North Carolina. Think about 1760. That's before the Revolutionary War. Think about that. We declared independence in 1776. She was born in 1760. She ended up moving in her life and ended up in central Illinois in Blue Point Township in Effingham County, Illinois, which is not too far away from me. And she died at the age of 112 years old, making her at the time, she was the oldest resident of the state of Illinois. And now Winona over in Springfield, who's still living today, is now 112. So she joins Phoebe Parks as the oldest resident ever of the state of Illinois, and she died in on January 20th, 1873, at the age of 112, which is remarkable. 112 years old. I had a whole obituary for her at one time, and I can't find it. But if I look here, they speak a little bit about it here. She was the daughter of Joseph Caldwell Parks, and I don't know that first name. It's Valentine Haley, and that those were her parents, and they were born and they were she married Samuel Parks, Phoebe did, in then 1794 in Rutherford County, North Carolina. They had 9 children, and after she died, she married Jacob Sipes in Shelby County, Illinois. So I happen to know where I know where she's buried. I mentioned earlier every year, and I'll show pictures of that in a moment. My wife and I go to make sure her tombstone's in good shape. It's not in too good a shape in this find a grave picture, but her first husband, who died before her, Samuel, he's buried in Shelby County, Illinois, in the middle of a cornfield, actually, in a really old cemetery. So if I go to her, find a grave. There's Samuel. He's buried in Strasburg, Illinois, in Shelby County, in the middle of a cornfield. That I've tried to go to numerous times, and I haven't really gotten. I've never taken the time to get approval to go through the land you have to get to. Old cemeteries, they get landlocked sometimes over the generations. Maybe it was a private cemetery, a family cemetery, and that's what this is, where he's buried here. I've never been to that site, but that's Phoebe's first husband. Now, the pictures I have of it, I'd like to show them. Let me see if we can get this. So this is me walking up there. You probably can't hear the noise here, but this is New Year's Eve here in central Illinois. We're going to the cemetery. It's pretty well maintained to have somebody 112 who was born in the 1700s buried there. So this is a cemetery. We're walking back. It's not a bad day for New Year's Eve here. And we're walking back like I do every New Year's Eve. I like to go make sure her grave's in great shape, and it's a real moment for me to reflect. Why am I not showing my face with this? It's a great moment to reflect. You think about, she lived 112 years old. Think of all the things she saw in life, you know, all the trials and tribulations. She had 9 kids. Think of what she went through and all the strife and different living conditions. Here we are approaching it, getting closer and closer. I know exactly where her stone's at. Year after year, we go there, and I'm going to come up on it. It's right there. And I saw at this point somebody had already cleaned it. Usually, you have to clean it every year to make it look good, and you can't use too caustic of chemicals to do it. Otherwise, you'll destroy an old stone like this. But there's her stone in great shape, considering it's someone who's. I'm taking a good look at it, making sure it's in decent shape. You could tell I had a problem earlier on. It cracked down in the lower part, and somebody repaired it years and years ago. And then here's a picture of my ugly mug with it. So there's me stand. I get a picture of myself next to it every year, uh, and then I take time to reflect on her life. She lived to be 112, and like I said earlier, all the stuff she went through in her life. How amazing that is, right? So died January 20th, 1873, age 112. I can never read these things. How many months in 4 days? Uh, what a remarkable life for that person, for Phoebe to live. So I don't want to take too much time, but I wanted to share that. Genealogy is a great hobby that I think a lot of people, as they get older and get into retirement, like to engage in. Just the natural interest in where you came from, who were the people that you came from. And Phoebe, I'm proud to say, is one of my relatives. She's 5 generations back of grandmothers, and I'm sure there are thousands of people that get to call her their great 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 grandmother, and I'm one of them. The oldest resident of the state of Illinois, 112 years old. Now she's tied with Winona over in the Springfield area. Let me pull her back up. She's turning 112, and there she is. Let's pull her open. That is Winona, and she is now 112 as well. So long life to her. She lived a great long life. Fantastic lady, I'm sure. And you don't live to be 112 without doing something right, right? So I just wanted to take a moment to do that. So that's something I do a lot, and I'd like to do a lot. Is I like to go to different cemeteries for relatives mainly, but also for famous people, just to kind of live the history and think about the past, think about deeper issues that you can't help but think about when you go into a cemetery. So hope you enjoyed that. I've got several I could do on this, but I'm related to the oldest resident of the state of Illinois, not the current one, the one that is now also another resident of the state of Illinois who's passed away in 1873. I'm related to her and proud to say that. I can't imagine how much Social Security she would have collected over the years, right? Didn't have it back then, but Winona, my goodness, think about that. If she collected starting at age even 70, she's collected 52 years of Social Security. Think about that. Anyway, just wanted to share that. Thank you if you joined or if you watch this later on. And I'd love to do more of these. I really enjoy this kind of thing in my life. I'm a historian by trade, so I love this kind of stuff, history. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.